Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Uh, let's just share this to Twitter that we're live, and then we'll get into it. Okay, so this stream is going to be a fun one. We are going to be stress testing the M1 chip. So this currently is an M1 MacBook Air. So we currently have OBS running, so I can do a screen share. And you'll be able to see here that it's currently running the M1 processor and 8 gigs of RAM. Okay, here's what's fun about this stream. With 8 gigs RAM and OBS running, the M1 chip, the base M1 chip, 7-core GPU and 8-core CPU, what can we do to break this thing? Because I've done some preliminary testing and it is quite incredible as to what we're doing. So I do have an SD card with some footage imported. I have hard drives with a ton of 4K footage. Let's start this stress test. So what we're going to do, currently running OBS, and it has 10%, 10% CPU usage currently, streaming at 1080p, 30. We're doing a screen capture and a webcam capture. This is using the webcam. Now, first things first, we're going to go into Final Cut Pro. We're going to launch Final Cut Pro and we're going to do a little test of Final Cut. So if I just bring Final Cut here, yeah, just load it up. Okay. Now, if I open up this project here, oops, we do not want to hear ourselves. Now, we're going to do a test event, just test event, because why not? And this is what really actually sparked this whole thing. If I go into my augmented reality explain video, that is the timeline I was able to pull off with a base MacBook Air. So in my preliminary testing, it hasn't done too badly. Now, let's create a test. And what we're going to do in this test file is we're going to, no, not a new event. We're going to open up a new project, just called test. We're going to give it 4K because that's the files that I'm using for this test. And in this test, we're going to import footage from here, CMG2, and we're going to use my iPad 9 unboxing. Now, this was very taxing footage. Normally, Macs struggle with the footage from the iPhone, so we'll see how this goes. Is it here? That's the question. iPad 9 unboxing, there we go. Now, if we just import the correct file, because I know that there is a ton of footage here. There we go. That's the file. We're going to leave files in place, close window after starting to import. There we go. So here's the file that we're going to be looking after. Now, there we go. Just do a crop. Now, this can play back no bother, you know? We go here. Oops. Can we not hear ourselves? Talk? That would be great. There we go. I don't know if you can hear that. Let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I will quiet it down. But yeah, essentially, there we go. We're going to go add a color grade to this to make it a bit more taxing on the CPU. side of things. So let's just add a bit of color here, do a bit of green, whatever it is. That actually looks decent. But we'll just go extreme here because I know you'll never be doing this, but it's just to prove what M1 is capable of. So we're going to copy this. And what we're going to do is we're going to layer it up. So in theory, in my preliminary testing, we should be able to load up 10 layers of this. 10 layers of 4K, which would be mental. So when I was doing this test with this laptop here, so when I was doing the test with this laptop, my other laptop, it took an hour to export this footage. I want to show you what M1 is capable of because I got a bit of a shock myself when I saw this, if I'm being honest with you. Here we go. We don't that blank. Let's just, yeah, so this is all color graded. It's all whatever it is, whatever. Let's add more on top of this because we're layering it up. Now, that's probably the max you'd ever do with this thing, So it's all 4K footage, all there. You can scroll through, you can see, yeah, it's pretty much, let's just mute that quickly, because we don't want to be listening to this the whole time we're doing the stress test. There we go. So that's your 10 layer. Well, not 10. We're not quite at 10 yet, but we'll just do this because for the moment, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 layers of 4K. Way more overkill than you need. Why not 16 gigs of RAM? Hi, welcome to the stream. Sorry, I didn't see that. I didn't get 16 gigs of RAM because honestly, I don't use the RAM all that often. 16 gigs of it. Every system I've ever used has had 8 gigs of RAM. And because of that, I didn't really see the need, especially with unified RAM. Now, this is something that's really interesting. With the unified memory, you can do so much more with it. It acts more like 16 instead of 8. So if you got 16 gigs of RAM, it would act more like 32. So that's a really interesting fact about the Apple Silicon. Like the RAM isn't necessarily normal RAM, which is really interesting to me. And that's why I didn't really get 16 because I don't use the 16 gigs. So we're going to time this now. This is 7 minutes, 7 streams of 4K footage from an iPhone, HEVC, H.265 encoding. We're going to encode this to H.264. This could be whatever. And we're going to export to the desktop here because why not? Let's give the best chance we have. And there we go. It should start exporting this fairly soon. Keeping in mind, we have OBS running. How's things, Eva, Wisdom on Tour? Hope you're having a good day. We're just stress testing MacBook Air. So to catch everyone up, it's currently exporting 7 streams. Oh, how's things, Simon, as well? Great to see some familiar faces join the chat. Yeah, so I've seen Randy Vasquez do some pretty impressive stuff in Logic as well. But this is 7 streams of 4K HEVC footage. Pretty impressive that I can handle all this color graded. I plan on switching from an i7 16-inch MacBook Pro to a 16 gig of RAM Air. I hope that works out for you. Oh, do we get lag? Okay, I found the breaking point. Let's not do that. Okay, so that was the breaking point. Now let's work back. So that's interesting because I didn't actually know that it would do that because I haven't tested this with OBS working at the same time. So let's try something different. If that made Final Cut lag, we're going to go here and we're just going to search for Google Chrome. Um, we're just going to bring up a few Chrome tabs here. Where should we look up? Tube. And then we go Simon names, because why not? Because Simon's in the chat. That's not correct. Everybody go check out Simon's music, it's very good. Yeah. So we'll do that. We may as well load up, while this is playing as well, we're going to load up Marquez's 8K video as well, just to see if we can break this thing. YouTube. So that was playing. Now let's go MKBHD 8K video. I cannot spell. Yeah. Okay, so stay at 4K. That challenge went. Oh yeah, I know, it's brilliant, Simon. I'm a huge fan of Simon's channel. So now we're going to try playing Marquez's 8K video on top of this. Now I don't expect it to be able to handle it 8K, but we'll see. Best music channel ever. I agree. After Randy Vasquez, of course. So it's actually playing back reasonably. Now some of this bottleneck might be my Wi-Fi, but keep in mind we're running Final Cut. I think we're running Final Cut anyways. No, we're not. But yeah, there's a bit of lag on my end. But it's playing it back pretty well. Like if we, bump it down to 6K maybe, or 4K, it should be okay to handle this. And it plays back no problem. And that's something that's really impressive to me. Well, there's a bit of lag there. Of course, that could be my Wi-Fi. Now let's try open up a few more Chrome tabs, because Chrome obviously brings everything to its knees, Let's go into, I don't know, let's go into, why not? We'll just try bring up as many tabs as we can to try break this. How does Apple Music lag on freeze like it does in Intel? No, and we can do an Apple Music demo while we're speaking here, actually. We can open that. We can go music. Hopefully we don't get copyright strike. That would be funny, actually. That would be very funny if we got a copyright strike. Keep in mind as well, while I'm doing this, it's running off and it's running 3 displays, so an external display here and my iPad sidecar. So it's impressive that I can handle all this. Do we have anything Randy Vasquez? Let's go Apple Music. So Randy Vasquez, just test it out, just to show that this is not lagging. There we go. And this is a great, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's working. Can you click on browse/radio/search something? Yeah. So we're currently in the listening mode and it's currently working. We'll go into browse, and if we give it a second there, because we're on my Wi-Fi, and then you can go into your essentials, of course, because this is a good one. We can go into radio, of course. And give me a second. Of course, Bruce Springsteen. Plays, no bother. We can go into our albums. We have a bit of ABBA there. And it's working. Stop. Don't give me a copyright strike. Show us your library. Yeah, so I have a bit of just downloaded most of the stuff. Don't know why that's still there, but essentially I have some decent stuff there. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it does it. Faster than my 16-inch. You see, the weird thing about it is Apple Silicon is really optimized for everything you do. So if we go into another program that I know is intensive, let's load up Zoom because Zoom is very intensive on the CPU side of things. We go here, we can new meeting, whatever, while we're doing this. So we have a Zoom meeting going on while we're doing this. So it's pretty meta. Meta as in, meta. Funny. So you can see that there. We have a Zoom meeting going on while we're on this call, which is while we're doing this. Now Zoom is very resource intensive. Air hot sometimes. The MacBook Air doesn't really get that hot, which is really impressive to me because it does a lot. So you're saying Apple is optimized for everything, then why use a Mac? It's not optimized for everything. So it is optimized for a lot of things, but one thing it's not optimized for, and it really kind of cheesed me off, is virtual machines. Now, virtual machines is something that I really use a lot in college. So I have to keep around this because I can't do virtual machines on Apple Silicon, which is something they could work on because it worked on the Mac Mini, not working on the MacBook Air for whatever reason. And the stress test I do, the same one that I did there, I did the export test earlier on today, and the export test proved that the MacBook Air can export that video with 10 streams of 4K. It exported in 30 minutes, which was really impressive. Why use Windows? Yeah, so Windows, which is an interesting one, doesn't have the automatic booting, unfortunately. But yeah, I do use Windows still from time to time because it allows me to do virtual machines, which I need. But the older uh, Macs that weren't Apple Silicon did that. Um, I like the UI sometimes. It's an industry standard for things like networking and that kind of thing. But you can see a kind of trend here. My whole idea of using Windows is turning into a Mac. So that's fun. I don't actually use this all that often now. It's literally just when I need virtual machines or whatever it is. So that's fun. Does it get hot? Oh yeah, the MacBook is getting really toasty now. It is getting really toasty. I wish I had a way to check how hot it's getting because it's nearly too hot to touch, which is interesting because normally you don't really hear about the MacBook getting too hot. Um, let's try something else. Does anyone have anything that they like stress test or anything like that? Because I am planning to try break this thing on stream because obviously I don't want to break it, but it's it's fine for the most part. Like you can browse Twitter if you wanted to. You can watch streams on Randy Vasquez's channel or Simon's channel or whatever. YouTube playback is perfect. I mean, if I go here, even things such as Twitter, Twitter works perfectly. Just speeding around the place, that works perfectly. Play Fortnite. Do I have Fortnite? I don't even think I have an Epic Games account. Let's try see if I have an Epic Games account. Yeah, there we go. Do I have an Epic Games account? That's the question. I don't even think I know the controls for Fortnite. Let's see now. The next question would be, would it run on Mac? Because last time I checked, it doesn't really work. Oh my god, that's hot. Yeah, the Mac is definitely getting toasty now, which is interesting. I haven't gotten it this hot before, so the streaming is definitely doing something to it. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know yet. But yeah, the speakers on this thing have been incredible. Yeah, the speakers have been great on this thing, and I showed it to someone who's not really. Oh my god, what? Your credential. Yeah, I don't have an Epic Games account. Weird. I thought I had one. Uh, yeah. The real question is though, does it run Crisis? Which is the question everyone wants to know. Let's be fair. Um, yeah. So I'm not sure if there's anything else I can really test on this thing to break it. Um, Running OBS and exporting in Final Cut a couple of layers of 4K definitely slows it down. So definitely don't do that. Um, but other than that, I mean, I'm using the virtual camera at the moment. This is the Mac webcam and microphone. So if you like how that sounds, great. And yeah, uh, I'm going to call us here for the moment, for the night. Thank you very much to everyone who joined in the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you next one.